Flight TR-219 disappeared without a trace in the Arctic wilderness on December 24, 1991, during one of the worst storms of the decade. On board were 150 passengers and crew, each with their own story, all trying to get home for Christmas. The last message from Captain Daniel Henderson was received at 11:15 p.m. An urgent attempt to contact air traffic controllers through the raging storm. Extreme turbulence, 2 engine failures, hull sinking critically. Request immediate. The transmission was cut off, leaving only silent and decades-long, painful uncertainty. 8 search planes and 4 icebreakers spent more than 600 hours searching fruitlessly. The rescue operation was called off after a month of intensive efforts without result. The mystery of TR-219 seemed doomed to remain one of the many mysteries buried in the Arctic ice. January 2024. Michael Blackwood sat in his research center in Anchorage, thoughtfully studying the satellite images on his desk. The thermometer outside read -28 degrees Celsius, but even through the thick walls of the lab, the Arctic cold penetrated. After 30 years of working in the Arctic, he had seen many strange things, but these photos made his heartbeat faster. A military satellite had accidentally discovered a metallic object buried deep in the ice. Dr. Blackwood, Amanda NGU, a young radar specialist, rushed into his office. New thermal imaging data. You have to look at this. Her hands shook slightly as she spread out new printouts. There's something unusual here. Look at these temperature patterns around the object. And these tracks. They form an almost perfect grid around the crash site. Michael examined the data carefully. The size and shape of the object exactly matched the missing TR-219. But there was something else. Something strange about the ice around the plane. It was as if something had been walking the same paths over and over again for 30 years, creating a complex pattern deep in the ice. Within a week, one of the largest Arctic expeditions in recent years was launched. The team included top-class experts, Jack Morrison, an engineer with 20 years of experience in polar conditions, Catherine Bolsch, a leading expert in the field of animal survival in extreme environments, and a group of 30 technical specialists. Time was running out. The spring warming threatened to bury the secret of TR-219 forever under tons of meltwater. 84 tons of equipment were transported across the frozen Inuit to the crash site. 4 heavy CH-47 transport helicopters worked non-stop, delivering life support modules, generators, drilling equipment and fuel supplies. The camp was set up in just 18 hours, a real scientific outpost in the midst of the icy silence. Catherine Walsh was the first to notice the strange behavior of the local wildlife. Everything pointed to the presence of large predators, but the tracks did not match those of polar bears or wolves. These footprints, they belonged to lynx, she explained to the team, but that's impossible. Lynx never come this far north. And they definitely shouldn't be this big. At dawn on the 4th day, when the first rays of sunlight turned the snow pink and visibility improved after the night's blizzard, they were finally seen. 3 lynx, unusually large for their species, watched the camp from a nearby ridge of ice humps. A mother and her 2 almost grown cubs, their silvery white fur blending so perfectly with the snow that they seemed to be woven from thin air. Incredible, Catherine whispered. They are huge. And look at their behavior. They are not afraid of people, but they are not aggressive either. The work began in extreme conditions. The thermometers showed -45 degrees Celsius, and the wind howled like a wounded animal, carrying icy snowballs that stung faces. 2 teams worked in shifts, using special equipment to melt the ice. Every hour the temperature sensors showed a slow but steady rise. Spring came quickly, threatening to turn the excavation site into a lake of meltwater. The first breakthrough occurred at a depth of 20 meters. The tail of the plane emerged from the ice. The metal had become dull over time, but the faded logo of the airline was still visible. Amanda was the first to notice something strange. The ice around the fuselage. It looks wrong, as if someone has been walking on these paths for years. The lynxes appeared every morning, almost on time. Their behavior defies explanation. They methodically checked the area around the excavation, marked dangerous sections of ice with deep tracks and scratches. Sometimes, it seemed, deliberately drawing people's attention to certain places. That evening, the first incident occurred. A sudden gust of wind tore loose the fastenings of the main generator. The massive structure tipped over and threatened to fall on Amanda. From the swirling snow, the eldest Lux darted forward at lightning speed and just managed to push the girl out of the way before the generator fell onto the ice. "That's impossible," Amanda said later, her voice shaking. "She saved me on purpose. Did you see her eyes? There was intelligence in them. Real intelligence." The work continued around the clock. The team installed powerful spotlights, the light of which reflected off the ice walls and cast eerie shadows. The special equipment for melting the ice was running at maximum capacity. 12 pumps worked non-stop to drain the meltwater, which in these low temperatures almost immediately froze again into a new layer of ice. Jack Morrison led the technical side of the operation. His team designed a unique fastening system to keep the walls of the ice shaft from collapsing. "We've never seen ice formations like this before," he admitted at one of the meetings. "These strange channels and cavities. It's as if someone had been digging tunnels here for decades." A week later, the team reached the passenger cabin. What they found there exceeded all expectations. Time had stood still here, preserved by the Arctic cold. Coffee cups stood frozen on the tables. Magazines and half-read books were still stowed in the seat pockets. In the aisle lay a child's doll in a pink dress, its plastic eyes staring motionless at the ceiling. But the most astonishing discovery was the diary of flight attendant Sarah Parker, lying in the first-class seat pocket. The pages contained a chronicle of the survivors' last days, written in neat, small handwriting. December 25, 1991, Christmas. Of 150 people, 28 survived. We gathered in the front of the plane, where it is warmer. Captain Henderson organizes the shifts and the distribution of food. It is strange, but we are not alone. We keep hearing noises outside. It does not sound like wolves. Something else is watching us. December 27, 1991. The temperature has dropped to minus 52 degrees Celsius. 4 people didn't survive the night. We try to keep warm by snuggling together. Jean, the girl in row 12, keeps asking about her mother. I don't know what to tell her. December 28, 1991. Something incredible happened today. We found fresh prey at the entrance to the plane. A couple of Arctic hares, as if someone had left them for us on purpose. Captain Henderson says it's impossible, but we've stopped questioning the impossible. These cats, they come every night. Their eyes glow in the darkness, but we're not afraid anymore. They're not chasing us, they're protecting us. December 30th, 1991. Last night we lost 11 people. Many got frostbite, others just didn't wake up. The fuel is almost gone and the temperature in the cabin is dropping dangerously fast. Without the help of these amazing creatures that bring us food, we would all be dead now. January 2nd, 1992. Only 12 of us are left. The cold is killing us one by one, but they are still there. These incredible creatures. The mother lynx brought her cubs closer today. Like ghosts, they move through the snow and show us safe paths. Jim tried to take a different route. We found his body in a crevice. Now we are just following the lynx. January 10th, 1992. There are only 5 of us left. The food is almost gone, but the lynx continue to bring prey. It is as if they understand our desperation. Today I saw the mother lynx sitting next to Maria for hours, warming her with her body while she was dying. This is beyond anything I thought I knew about wild animals. January 15, 1992. I am the only one left. The others have disappeared. But these creatures are still there. The mother lynx brings me food. Her cubs guard my sleep. I no longer feel the cold. They have taught me something important. In this white silence, no one should die alone. I hear them outside. They are calling me. The discovery of the diary left the team with mixed feelings. This is the delirium of a dying person, stressed Jack Morrison. But Catherine Walsh was not so sure. She had studied Arctic predators for 20 years and had never seen anything like the behavior of these lynxes. The work continued, but with each passing day it grew warmer. The ice began to melt faster than the team could reinforce it. Cracks began to form in the dig walls. Michael Blackwood urged that work be accelerated, knowing they had only a few days left. Then, in mid-February, disaster struck. A sudden rise in temperature caused the ice to shift. A massive crack tore through the dig site, threatening to swallow both the plane and the people. The evacuation began in panic, but 3 team members were cut off from the rest of the camp by the opening crack. "They're going to die out there," Amanda screamed, fighting through the blizzard. And then the impossible happened. The lynx emerged from the blizzard, moving with absolute certainty. The mother lynx led the way, with her cubs following close on her heels. They led the stranded team members across the abyss, across an invisible bridge, the only safe way that did not collapse under their weight. In the last week of February, the team made another amazing discovery. In the cargo hold of the plane, they found a container with scientific equipment. Inside was the work diary of a meteorologist who had been on board Flight TR-219. His last entries described strange atmospheric phenomena shortly before the crash. December 23, 1991, 10:15 p.m. I have never seen anything like it. The instruments are showing impossible values. The atmospheric light phenomena are inexplicable. It is as if the Arctic itself is trying to tell us something. Next to the diary lay a camera. On the miraculously preserved film, there was only one photograph. The blurry image of a modest luxury standing in the glow of the northern lights. On the back, in shaky handwriting, were the words, "They are the guardians of this place. They know more than we can understand." By early March, it became clear that there was no time left. The spring thaw had accelerated, making the excavations a race against time. The team worked around the clock, trying to recover as many artifacts and information as possible. The lynx also seemed to sense the end was approaching. They were appearing more frequently and their behavior was becoming more urgent. "This is beyond any known science," Catherine admitted in her last interview at the excavation site. "These lynxes are not only unusually intelligent, they have a memory of those events, of the people they tried to save 30 years ago, and they pass this memory on through generations." On the last day of the excavations, the team was preparing for the final evacuation. The temperature had risen to -5 degrees Celsius, and the ice was rapidly melting, turning the lower levels of the excavation into a lake. According to the engineers' calculations, the structure would become critically unstable within 24 hours. Amara, Ord community captions suddenly. Amanda noticed something strange in the behavior of the lynxes. The mother lynx persistently tried to draw attention to a certain place on the fuselage of the plane. Following the animals, the team discovered a small compartment that they had previously overlooked. Inside was a sealed container filled with crew records and passengers' personal belongings. This discovery was the final gift from the crash site's remarkable guardians. During the expedition, the team collected over 100 terabytes of data, including photographs, video footage, and instrument measurements. Analysis of the results continues to this day, but one thing is already clear. The story of Flight TR-219 has changed our understanding of nature and its mysteries. As the last helicopter took off from the site, Michael Blackwood looked down. 3 silvery figures stood on the edge of the precipice, their silhouettes sharply outlined against the snowy envelopment. The lynxes watched the people depart, just as they had once watched the last survivors of Flight TR-219 30 years ago. A modest monument now stands at the crash site. Its inscription is simple: Flight TR-219, December 24, 1991. Here, amid the Arctic ice, we learned that compassion knows no boundaries between species, eternal memory of those who perished and of the extraordinary beings who keep their peace. Today, this place has become an object of great scientific interest. Researchers from all over the world travel here to study the unusual behavior of the Arctic lynx. These remarkable creatures are still there. Rare expeditions have reported sightings. Like silver ghosts between the ice ridges, they remain the eternal guardians of this place where nature once showed its true face. Catherine Walsh has published a series of scientific papers on the Lux phenomenon TR-219, sparking a revolution in the understanding of the cognitive abilities of wild animals. What we discovered there beneath the ice, she writes, goes beyond mere survival instinct. These creatures displayed empathy and caring that were once thought to be purely human traits. They showed us that even in the harshest conditions, something extraordinary can thrive, a bond between species based on pure compassion. And on the rare nights when the northern lights preserve the endless expanses of the Arctic, their silhouettes can still be seen in the shimmering sky. 3 faithful sentinels who continue their eternal vigil, preserving the memory of those who found their final resting place here and reminding us that true compassion knows no boundaries.